All right, folks, coming up, we've got top NSA whistleblower Wayne Madsen joining us. And Madsen's coming on to talk about the only other person that is more high level from the NSA to blow the whistle than him, and that's William Binney, who was number 4 over the agency, telling the London Guardian last Sunday that it's about ultimate control of the population. Headline, the ultimate goal of the NSA is totalitarian, total population control. That's coming up with Wayne Madsen. Then Syria Girl, breaking down the inside on what's happening in Syria right now. Because while we're busy watching Iraq and ISIS run around murdering everybody, blowing up mosques, churches, killing men, women, and children, crucifying people, their normal activity. And as our media basically doesn't even expose the fact that the government runs them, while all that's happening, they're still attacking areas of Africa and Syria. And they're still trying to destabilize to the Muslim Brotherhood that's allied with them, Egypt. And boy, if Egypt falls, that's a big circus. The ceasefire was broken by the different organizations, Hamas mainly, in Gaza, firing more rockets against Israel. People say, how dare Israel bomb Gaza? I don't like seeing civilian areas being bombed, but who's launching the rockets? And why is Hamas doing that when Israel then comes up and blows up their infrastructure? Because Hamas is tied in with the UN and the globalists. And those political leaders are being paid, ladies and gentlemen, to destabilize and undermine their own people. And that's come out. You can search Israel-created fake al-Qaeda groups to end peace process, Jerusalem Post, 1998. And when they say Israel, that means criminal elements within the Israeli government. And our own government does this as well, because what's the goal? Keep the political class in power. Keep Obama in power. Keep the NSA in power. Keep the CIA in power. But most people in the Israeli government, the U.S. government, you name it, are not bad people. It's tiny groups that want destabilization. Look at Saudi Arabia, caught red-handed funding ISIS. Who may want to overthrow them? It's a very dangerous game. That's why it's always stabbing in the back and double dealing and flipping sides. There's no honor among thieves. The British Empire called it the great game of balkanization or divide and conquer. Literally hundreds of textbooks from the 1700s on until the 60s that are public, go look it up, were written for technocrats of the British Empire to understand this. And books have been written here, like Tragedy and Hope, that we sell back in print. Only 1,000 were printed. The plates were destroyed. Patriots reverse engineered it, fought the lawsuits, and reprinted it, and we have it. 1,100 pages long, Tragedy and Hope. Carol Quigley, head of Georgetown Political Science, admitting everything I just told you. Brzezinski's written 5 books telling you everything I just told you, because it's meant for the elite. They think you're so stupid, you'll never read The Anglo-American Establishment or Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. You'll never read The Technotronic Era, written in the 70s by Zbigniew Brzezinski. You read that little 250-page book, it all came true. Because Zbigniew Brzezinski is one of about 5 master technicians of the technocracy that we know of, who literally were given the full Rothschild, Rockefeller, legate, imperial, governor power to chart our world. Government running narcotics, government breaking up the family, government weather control. It's all in his book. When did he write Technotronic Era? Technotronic Age? I forget. I read it when I was like 14. People say, how do I know all this stuff? Because criminals brag, ladies and gentlemen. They write blueprints. People always say, something this big would come out. It would come out that the CIA put Mao Zedong in. Declassified. It would come out that our government's behind al-Qaeda. Public. It would come out they're putting cancer viruses in many vaccines. Public. It would come out fluoride lowers IQ and causes cancer. Harvard Medical Journal. Public. Last year. Public. It's all public. Most of it's public. What we know is so off the charts that I don't even want to imagine what else these people are up to. And all they're doing is battling with each other in the Fortune 100 and the governing class, battling with each other to try to get control of the levers. We're not even in the game now. And all I'm trying to do is get the public to get in the game. Now, what's coming up after we cover Bo Bergdahl being put back on active duty? I'm going to talk about that in a moment, and then we're going to get to this breaking news with Joe Biggs, a new special report he's put out. But then coming up, U.S. government editing Wikipedia to smear independent media, caught red-handed saying I'm a Russian agent with no proof on the website directly from Capitol Hill. Separately, Eglin Air Force Base busted gaming Reddit, evidence of web manipulation by specific military installation. Here's another one, Snowden files, manipulating polls, netting from LinkedIn, YouTube, and GCHQ, bag of tricks. That's in England. Just gaming everything. That's what they do. It's called sock puppets. That's who attacks us. Snowden files. It's all coming out. And the Pentagon announced about a year ago they're going to be involved in psyops against the American people openly. That means paying off local media, paying off bloggers. You're going to see a lot of turncoating going on right now. It's getting to be a very dangerous situation as they enter the final phase trying to take this country down. Now, what's really big news is this special report we're about to play. It's a new series he's going to be putting out every week or so with his own video and photos, but also with information that comes to us, public videos online that he'll be reviewing. We've already done some of that with Staff Sergeant retired Joe Biggs, who saw combat in Afghanistan and Iraq. And he's here with us today. Of course, he came to our attention, not just from those articles a few years ago, but he was also good friends with Michael Hastings, who was clearly killed. The evidence is overwhelming. And himself was probably a CIA cutout. Certainly his wife worked at the National Security Council in the Star Chamber secret meetings. And I mean, just give me a break, folks. It's off the charts. I mean, that is the government. And he helped expose all that. So he now works here in Austin, moved down here from the Carolinas, and he's going to start this new report. But just a few minutes on Bergdahl. I mean, for those that don't know, explain to people. I mean, you don't just end up a couple of years with Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and then a month after you're back, no one can talk to you because you're mentally ill, or you can't even talk. But now you're back on active duty. What do you think this was all about, Joe Biggs?
I mean, he definitely had to be some kind of CIA asset. I mean, to stay with the Haqqani network for as long as he did, without getting his head cut off, without being physically tortured, they're saying that he is, but clearly you can see when he gets off that helicopter and he's brought into U.S. custody, he's walking around fine. He's standing up on his own.
And the story didn't fit. He walked off and said, I'm leaving, and went and joined him.
Yeah, that's what every soldier in his unit said, that he left a note, he walked off, and he had intent to contact Taliban who spoke English and go and live with them.
He was an infiltrator, and this was all announced 2 days after the CIA section chief's cover was blown in Kabul.
Yes, exactly. That was the reason why it was important to get him out of there. I mean, he wasn't in danger. Why wasn't he in danger those whole, nearly 5 years he was over there? If he was in such bad condition, why didn't they get him out before? It's clearly, too, also another way for them to cover that VA scandal that was hitting them so hard. Congressman Mick Mulvaney out of South Carolina said that there's an email going around, and I read this in an article on the internet the other day that said, from the White House, VA scandal is killing us, and we need to move on the Bergdahl trade without going through Congress. So clearly, like you said, the video that we made a while back saying that the Bo Bergdahl situation was a distraction from the VA, this whole thing is just one big, nothing adds up at all whatsoever.
I think that was the Washington Examiner had that,
Yeah, that and Politichicks, a few other ones.
What else you got on this?
But, I mean, one of the things, too, was everyone says he deserted. Everyone in that unit. So how...
And you called me on a Saturday, and I said, don't go with it.
Yeah.
That you got guys that were in the unit with him.
Yeah.
And they said it was all staged. And I said, well, let's just not go with your buddies yet. I'm sure you're right. Let's wait till Monday.
And now it's everywhere. Everyone knows these guys have all come out and told their stories. And yet there's still this investigation to find out if he is a deserter or truly a POW. And if they find him to be a POW, in which they probably will, because it's better to have that kind of story, he'll get $350,000 of our dollars tax-free, you know, and he's going to be, like you said, he's returned to active duty, and he'll have some desk job somewhere.
Does anyone believe that if he'd really been under Al-Qaeda, Taliban, Haqqani network control,
he wouldn't be alive?
Or much less, they would just let him out in the public now a month later. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. I mean, to be with those guys were bad, hardened criminals. Like I said, they were the Sopranos of Afghanistan. They don't play around. You know, they weren't going to keep him around for that long. There had to be some kind of inside thing going on. He had them deep undercover. We were working with them.
Well, we know all those groups are heavily infiltrated by criminal rogue networks in the highest levels of intelligence agencies.